Alright. Says we're live. We'll see how this actually goes. Alright. Well, it looks like Sims and Iber, not too bad. Alright, so let's take a look here. Oh, helps if I use the right button. Okay. Ooh, rocket launcher. Wow, data pads are crazy expensive here. Alright, so I think what we're gonna do, actually I need to rename the waypoint too before Alright, let's see how. Alright, so we should be at this one, which is going to be parts, tools. Oh, out of space, huh? So let's go. Oh, let me do that, huh? And this is going to be ingots. Alright. That way I know what they're buying and selling without having to work too much with it. Yeah, okay. And apparently the wolves had found us once again, which is fine. Weapons are disabled in the safe zone. Wonder if they can attack. They can attack? That's not fair. Alright, let's head out this way. Put some distance between us and them, since we have left the safe zone. Damage is turned off. Why is damage turned off? Really? Alright, well, I guess we'll, Alright. I wonder if that was because that originated while I was in the safe zone. It seems to do weird things to the encounters. Let's go sell the meat really quick, because it's actually somewhat useful. Yeah, so we'll do that. Sell. Not like I don't have enough. Alright, so basically, let's talk about what's been going on. So last time we went up, we achieved orbit. I came back into the, well, I did a couple of jumps just to test the jump drive. Came back down to the Earth-like planet. We're basically on the other side of the planet from where we were earlier. As you can see, we're about 100 kilometers away, and that puts us pretty close to a bunch of things. When we were flying around, I realized that a lot of the stations here are actually, let's go ahead and go to you, are actually on the planet. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead, head over. There's an ice lake over that way, so we're going to go pick up some ice, and we are going to resupply a little bit. So we've burned through all of the lake ice that we had. Did I see smoke up there? No, okay, it's just the safe zone shield. But yeah, so we're gonna relocate over to the ice lake, do a little bit of ice mining. let's see if we can get ourselves up and running, because I want to get a lot more ice on board so that we can get the hydrogen up. Now once we get the hydrogen up, we'll basically be able to stay in space for, you know, indefinitely, because we'll be able to go do some exploration, find some asteroids, maybe do some basic materials processing. But we do want to start trading in between the planets, because that's where we're going to actually find most of the better resources and the more expensive parts and better ships and stuff. Let's go over this way. And this should be a good location here. What we'll do is we'll turn Bob on, turn everything else off once we get down on the ground. Yeah, it looks like our tail's a little high, but that's fine. Okay. So we can turn those off. We're going to turn our batteries to recharge and turn the reactors off for right now. Before I forget, let us get Bob going. Alright. And we're basically just going to do a little bit of ice mining right here. Turn the light on so we can see. And we just start doing this. Why? Because we can. Like I said, we're just grabbing a little, well, we grab more than a little bit. I want to get, I'd like to get enough material so that we don't have to worry too much about fuel. Because hydrogen really is the biggest issue for us at this point. Okay. Bob is picking our stuff up for us. That's good. Alright. So, I'm thinking what we may end up doing. So originally what I was saying is I wanted to kind of focus on the trade and just move stuff between the stations. I'm not thinking that that's going to be that much fun, honestly. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was actually entertaining to have to go buy materials to finish the jump drives, but, well, to finish the first jump drive at least. But I think what we really want to do is get tucked in on the combat a little bit. We want to kind of get dragged into the war, I think. And so what we're going to do is we're going to start planning around that. But what that means is that we're going to need to get some things done. One of which I want to find an asteroid with uranium on it. Because in, I think, within the next month or so, let me see, that's the base that we just left, okay. Actually, how much ice is that? Go drop this stuff off here really quick. That's going to be, see how much lake ice we have. We have 51k. That's not too bad. 54, so we've got about half of, maybe about a third of what I want. I want to get about 150. Hey Art, how you doing? Shield can be bought only on NPC? No. The shield components can actually be crafted. The only thing, if you want to do safe zone shields, that's NPC only. You can't craft those. You can craft the unit, but you can't craft the fuel. You need the safe zone chips, or the zone chips. And those tend to be, depending on what your faction standing is, those can be rather expensive. I've actually seen some faction sets where the price on them basically just starts cascading ridiculously. So you'll end up with, like, you know, they'll start at say like 40 or 50,000 credits per zone chip. And I've seen them get up over like the multi-millions. Well, it just depends on your luck and what you're doing faction-wise. But yeah, so welcome to the stream. Grab a little bit more, see what we've got going on in there. Alright, so now how much do we have? Another 22k, so 32, 80, 91. But if you're doing just the regular defensive shields, like the shield emitters, you can actually craft those as long as you have a full assembler. If you can't do it on anything less than the full assembler, so either regular assembler or oh, that's interesting. Let's see, are we just too much stuff drawing power? I guess. Apparently. All right. Guess we're supplementing with reactor power. All right. Ah, because the batteries don't recharge. That's why. Yeah, no worries. Surprisingly, it is actually a question I get asked not infrequently, because I myself don't tend to use anything with the safe zone, mainly because of the fact that when you have hostile AI enabled, it makes things weird around your base, because it sets up an area that is basically a no-fire zone, an entirely no-fire zone, so even the AI can't attack. But the problem is that you can't attack from within it either. You have to actually turn off the safe zone in order to fire it out. Now, for the one that you own, for safe zones that you own, I'm trying to remember if they changed that or not. Because at one point you couldn't attack from within the safe zone, and I think they changed it so if you own the safe zone, you can attack out, but people can't attack in. Which is why I use the defensive mod, the defensive shields mod. Because that has, you know, people can attack in, or you can attack out. So, not quite so broken. And our lake ice. That's about 120. That's not too bad. Hey, sir, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. Happy Monday, everybody, or Tuesday. I know it's a little bit later in the day for me, so it's probably towards the end of the day for some of you folks. But yeah, we're just getting a little bit of ice. Like I said, I just want to get, you know, like 150, maybe 200k of ice. And we'll let the O2 generators basically just tear it apart. Should probably actually run it through the water filter, but actually, do I have the water filter turned on? I may have the water filter turned off. I just realized that. There you are. No, water filter's turned on. Why are you not pulling the lake ice? I have conveyor turned off, that's why. Alright. And so, having the water filter turned on allows me to get the algae. So I can convert algae over into the biomass, so that we can keep farming. Food production is rather important. Yeah, because I farm the algae, turn the algae into compost, and then that compost, the composter basically turns it into biomass. Hey Brian, Hey, thanks. Welcome to the stream. Appreciate it. I'm glad people are enjoying it. So what we were talking about earlier with the shields, these zone chips, you can't craft these. You can only buy these from vendors. If you are building, if you're using the defensive shield mod, these guys, the field emitters, you can craft, but you have to build them only in the assembler. So I think at one point they were talking about making zone chips craftable. The problem is that Keen didn't want people to basically just turtle down with them. They're supposed to really be used as like basically anti-raid kind of things, because each one of those chips lasts for an hour. And so if they make it too easy to get them, then basically you will never have PvP on any of the PvP servers. So, and the zone chips were really not meant to become a handicap like that. Sheed, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. Good to see everybody back again. Right. So, what we're going to do is a little bit more of this. I think that gets us close. So for the folks that are probably wondering why I'm wanting the water filter turned on, like I said before, it serves two purposes. One, it will convert lake ice into regular ice, which we actually need for the farming system. But it also provides us with the algae samples, and then with these I can put those into the algae farmer, and we get what was it? It was, I want to say it was like 8 to 1 or something like that, or I think something in that area. So it ended up being a pretty good exchange rate. You've got 100k, 100, yeah, okay, that should be enough ice for now. Because we don't want to spend all day doing nothing but ice mining. Because, well, if we're going to do that, there's better ways and easier ways of doing it. Alright, so, what I was saying was that originally I had intended to do basically using the stations where we would buy and trade resources. Honestly, I think I would rather get into the combat side. We really haven't done a whole lot of the combat on the channel recently. I do actually participate in combat events, like in my downtime when I'm not recording. So what I'm thinking is that we might do a bit more combat, which means we actually will end up doing a lot more building, because we're going to have to build bases, we're going to have to build defensive stations, resource collection and gathering. So part of the benefit of going with the combat aspect is that we end up doing a lot more construction as well. So yeah, let me know if anybody doesn't like that idea, but I think that we'll still do a little bit of trading, but I do think that I would rather have a little bit more focus on combat this time around. Like I said, I just think we end up doing a lot more construction that way. So let's head over here. Let's go turn those over. We're going to go ahead and... are R02 really not doing anything? Okay, so you are on and functioning. Let's take a look at our tanks real quick. Okay, so you are refilling slowly. So the next thing we need is, I don't have an ore detector on board. Right. Yeah, no ore detector on board. So we need to put an ore detector on. Yeah, so if the safe zone's biggest benefit is that if you don't want to engage in combat with players or NPCs, that is its best application. It does make a really good fallback for if you've got if you're using shields and you need something that's just like an absolute, we need time to recover. So it's not a bad fallback thing, but like I said, it just does weird things when you have like NPCs turned on, and if you know, against players it's fine, but with NPC spawns it's kind of weird because sometimes they can attack through it, sometimes they can't. They're not supposed to be able to attack through it at all, but doesn't stop you from sometimes taking combat, getting into the shield. But yeah, for the most part, yeah, it's an absolute defense system. All right, so let's get ore detector, right? I need to get some plates, which I should have a few of. Let's go through here. We're here, may as well. I do have a couple plates. We actually got detector components. Oh, I see. Because I wasn't planning on doing a lot of mining, I wasn't really expecting to need an ore detector. Do I want to go? Yeah, we'll go that way. Alright. And do we actually... So apparently, yes, I did have all the parts. Yeah, the shield mod is, in my opinion, better if you're planning on actually engaging in like real combat. It's a better balance. We want to drop those off to refill. Thank you. All right, we're good to go. But yeah, like I said, it just really depends on what you're trying for. So the safe zone shield is actually an in-game application of what used to be the old what they called it the GM safe zone. So GMs used to be able to designate basically an area that was not combat. So you couldn't do anything in it. So you couldn't grind, you couldn't destroy, you couldn't modify terrain. So GMs could. So if you're in a multiplayer server, the server admins could basically designate areas. They could, drop a base in and say this thing is not attackable. And what they did is they made that actually a game mechanic. Man, I kind of want to go check out that Pegasus, but we got things we need to do. Okay, so let's get in here. We are going to go over to the second tab. We'll set our ore detector up. Toggle that block on off. And we're going to go in here really quick. We are going to max that out. Yeah, so I'm probably going to put in the overclocked ore detectors mod, which basically doubles the range of the vanilla ore detector. So, alright, so the antenna thing for the ore detector is only if you want to be able to see the ore locations outside of the ship. If you can connect to the ship, you can see the ore. So that's why, the whole thing with the antenna aspect. I actually had somebody ask me about that the other day. And I think I actually left a spot. I got rid of... Oh no, I still have antennas. Okay, I guess not. I thought I sold the antenna components, but... Okay, so the ore detector's on that side. And so what I'm thinking is that we would do the antenna over here. I don't know, can we go... So we could go that way with it. Or... So I was kind of hoping we'd be able to get it over there, but... Guess not. So, I mean, that's not a bad way to go for it right now. Can I get... Oh, that's too bad. That'd be awesome if I could have gotten it right there. I mean, I guess we can go there for now. I mean, ultimately we could, honestly, just do that. So if we did that, that should work. Why didn't they add the regular shields? So there's a couple of conflicting design ideas in Space Engineers. So Keen, well, Merrick specifically, but Keen in general, doesn't want a situation where players are always completely safe, which is why when they did put the safe zone in, it was kind of a compromise between the PvE, and PvP crowd. Basically, they didn't want to have a situation where people were, unable to completely defend themselves. So as long as you were to the point where you could build the unit and put the chips in, basically it would hopefully keep the griefers from basically harassing people, because even in PvP servers and people that are fully on board with PvP, there are times that you just don't want to, basically be away from your base for an extended period of time and come back to a crater. So why didn't they put regular energy shields in? You would really have to talk to the folks at Keen about it. From my understanding of it, was along those same lines, is that they didn't want to... It's an aspect that they would have to balance, and it's really difficult to do so, especially given with the history of combat in Space Engineers. I mean, they're doing 2 complete reworks of combat. The first pass went in on the last update with the industrial stuff, and then they have a dedicated combat upgrade coming out, currently scheduled for February, sometime February. I'm thinking, because of the recent notices, I'm thinking it may be early February, maybe like early to mid, but it may even get pushed back depending on how the balancing tests go. But from what I've heard, I've only heard really good things about it so far. And some of the things that you have seen in combat-based mods are actually going to make it into the game. The comments and rumors so far is something along the lines of Weapon Core. So think of like Weapon Core basically becoming a vanilla aspect of the game. So we're gonna do that, and I think we should be okay to head into space for now. Now that we have an ore detector, and like I said, I'll put the overclocked ore detector in. Because especially for the space, and I'll probably use it as a dedicated space ore detector, because that thing's got, like a 5-kilometer range or something. Means I don't have to go up and nose into every asteroid in order to find stuff. Let's get ourselves back up into space, and we'll go hang out. But yeah, like I said, it's a weird balancing act, and it's one that I don't envy Keen to have to deal with, because whenever you have a game where you have a situation where there's a mix or a crossover between 2 core audiences, one of them being PvE and the other being PvP, you're always going to run into an issue with the demands of it, because they have very different focuses, and so dealing with those focuses and trying to balance so that everybody is happy, you're never really gonna do it. You're never really gonna achieve that. You just kind of have to find a middle ground. So even in the combat revamp, I don't believe that we'll see a defense shield. I think they will just leave it as the safe zone shield if you want them. You know, there's a fuel cost for it, basically. A consumable, a non-craftable consumable. And I mean, you've seen how easy we've gotten 10 of the things, and we really haven't done anything. You know, it's like I haven't bought them. It's just getting them from like the different drops and ships that have crashed, and some of the bases that we've salvaged. So you can get them, but hey, Nada. Yeah, that a lot of people do. To be fair, you know, you have PvE and PvP dedicated servers, but in the real application of it, it's kind of hard to stick to that separation because there are a lot of people that are very PvE focused that still like to do a little bit of PvP sometimes, and vice versa. They're, you know, hardcore PvPers aren't just constantly out shooting each other up. They're, you know, they sometimes want to have the ability to walk away, and that's where I think the safe zone shields came into it, was that they really do give everybody a chance to focus on the aspects that they want to focus on. So if you're wanting to play on a PvP server, you have the ability and be able to walk away from the game for, you know, a day or two and not have to worry about it. But yeah, like I said, it's a balancing act. It's one that any game that has any type of PvP element to it has to deal with in some capacity. It's just the way it is, unfortunately. We should now be well outside of the atmosphere. We are, which means we can turn off the atmosphere thrusters. Now, I sometimes will actually build cruise control systems for my ships, so where I'll have a thrust override increase and decrease, so I don't have to sit here with my hand on the keyboard. So. Yeah, and that's, like I said, that's where I think the safe zone shield comes into it, Rashid. Is that way you're not forced into PvP constantly. So, but yeah, it's just, I think part of it also is, you know, there's the expectation that as a player, you know, it's kind of expected you're going to do research on the server that you're joining. Whether or not that's fair is a different question. You know, is it fair to the end user to have to do that? So the Grail, yes. And that's kind of my point on it. You know, is it's like, if you're on a uncapped multiplayer server, when I say uncapped, I'm talking the galaxy size, the playfield size. It's not generally an issue. The only time it really becomes an issue is if you're basically, like you said, you know, go looking for a fight. But there's always that chance that somebody may just go exploring, and especially if you're on planets, you know, the odds are somebody's going to find you, because most servers, let's be real here, that they are modded, and they're usually modded pretty extensively, and they'll have things like the ore detectors, or you'll have the radar scripts and things, you know. So it's okay, it's usually fairly easy to hide, but in a server with people that are dedicated to looking for you, they're going to find you. So yeah, and I believe the multiplayer server list for Space Engineers now also says if it's PvP enabled or not. It's been a while since I looked at the went looking through the server list. I generally, you know, I generally don't go looking for multiplayer stuff because I either have one running or I'm running one myself. So I just go direct connect to the server that I'm looking for. But yeah, but even in space, if you're using something like, say, the overclocked door detectors mod, which, don't get me wrong, absolutely amazing mod. I love it. There is the potential, because they have the space version, like the space only version, and that scans kilometers at a time. You know, you're talking, I think at max range on the space only one has been nerfed down to 5 kilometers, but it used to be like 15 or 20 kilometers. Yeah, if you're just out in the middle of space, yeah, just pick a random direction, put like 2-3 jump drives on your ship. You jump do a couple of random jumps, choose a random direction, and then jump again. The odds of someone finding you is very slim. One of the things that I used to do early on when I did play on other people's multiplayer servers is if I was looking for people, I would look to see where there were bases that had been spawned in, because there's a spawn radius around players for NPCs. They will only spawn within a certain distance to an NPC, to a player. And it used to be, I want to say 25 kilometers, and I think it's 15 kilometers now. So if you jump into a section of space and there's a bunch of stations, that means a player has probably been there or is in the general area. So it's a kind of a dirty way to find them, but like I said, people that are dedicated and driven to find other players, they have systems to do so, and but yeah, it's hard. It's definitely hard to find people in deep space, but. Yeah. And again, it does come back to the server settings. Ah, no NPCs then. Yeah, if you don't have NPCs enabled, then yeah, it becomes pretty much you have probably a better chance of winning that, like, you know, international or interstate lottery. You know, like multiple times than finding somebody in space. Which, realistically, without the NPCs, you know, that's kind of what you expect. It should be almost impossible, if not impossible, to encounter somebody that's not looking to be found. Alright, so we're going to check out some asteroids, see if we can find something. So for asteroids, there's 2 things I'm looking for. Either ridiculously heavy iron deposit or uranium deposits. Everything else is, you know, bonus. And the iron deposits aren't such a thing since we can use stone now. Let's go ahead and hit the brakes. And we'll go take a look over here. What the hell is on the edge of that? Is that a resource deposit? I guess I should put lights on this thing. Alright, so I'm seeing what looks like might be resources over there. That might also just be shadow. Yeah, it was just a shadow. This is where I start considering throwing on the ion thrusters. But see, this is why I generally use the overclocked ore detector, because it's just, you have to get so close to these things in order to detect resources sometimes. Yeah, we have an ore detector on. Actually, make sure it's turned on. Should be turned on. Thought it was turned on. Yeah, it's turned on. Okay. Yeah, but this is a vanilla ore detector, so we're not gonna see, like, I can see a resource deposit right there. I don't know what that is. That might be ice. And if it is, that's not a bad thing. But just to give you an idea, it's like, if I was using the overclocked ore detector, I would already know what that resource was. Hey Thomas, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. Death Star, yeah. Golden ice. Oh, look at that. And it's actual ice, not lake ice. Speaking of lake ice, man, that is a giant lake down there. Holy crap. So let's us not jam ourselves into an asteroid at any rate of velocity. Okay, that's close enough that I can actually go do a little bit of space harvesting here. Let's close that because I don't want to... Whoops. Helps if I close my helmet. We have space ice. Alright. And we're close enough, Bob should pick it up. Alright, so the server, this particular game is not on a server. This is a private host offline map. So I have a Space Engineer server set up that was actually going to be for the new season of the Survival series, the Extreme Survival series that I was doing. But because of scheduling conflicts and prioritization, unfortunately that just didn't happen. So I may repurpose that. I haven't decided yet. No problem, Art. Hope you have a great day. Thanks for stopping in. Hope to see you around next time. Space ice is spice? Yes, yes it is. The spice must flow. So I'm trying to remember what channel it was. There was a video that was done on YouTube that somebody did. Talking about what was... Oh, I think it was Game Theory, actually. Might have done it. Basically trying to figure out what the spice melange was. What was in it. And it came down to... Like, there was things that were real in the real world. And it was just like... The mix was interesting. But it would give you the... Potentially could give you like the delusions that that you were a giant space slug and able to fold space-time. But all of the other stuff that the spice was notorious for doing, things like increased perception and health and all this other stuff, it's like, yeah, they were like, this actually could be it. Small. What? 12.5 kilometers on a small grid? Yeah, that is cheaty. Well, that's the thing. What it ended up being wasn't. I want to say it wasn't anything illegal. It was actually a. It was effectively caffeine, I think, but it was... I'm trying to remember exactly what it was. I think it was a prescription medical thing. I don't remember what it was off the top of my head, unfortunately. But yeah, they were talking about, you know, it could have been, you know, because of the way things were, they were like, well, you know, this, you know, insert drug A might be it, but it was like not likely because of these other things. It was interesting. But the fact that, you know, people actually explore that, I think, is pretty awesome. So let's take a look, see how much ice we picked up. We got 69k of ice, we got 64k of lake ice, and then another 50 and 10. And I got some more in there. Oh, I forgot to turn the algae farms off. The algae farms are pulling. Oh, no, the algae farms are actually farming algae for us. Okay, that's fine. Alright, that's all good. No, actually the blue eyes were attributed to silver. Dicolide, was it dicolide silver or whatever? So that it was that, and then I want to say caffeine and something else. I don't remember. I don't remember what the exact mix was, but it was an interesting. Like I said, it was an interesting conversation. But yeah, one of the items was a prescription drug that exists and has existed since like the 50s, I want to say. And given the background of the author and some of the source material, hey, look, we're actually friendly with pirates. How's that for crazy? Let's bring the shields up, just in case. Oh. That's so... we don't really have a direction to go. I'm just gonna kind of look around. Let's say... Let's go ahead and set a GPS here. And yes, I know I can do this from the chat line. 01... You are gold and ice, at least, which is not a bad thing to have. Let's see, we've got... Let's head this way. Yeah, maybe. I just, like I said, I don't remember exactly what the cocktail ended up being. I just remember that it was... When they were done, they were able to account for pretty much everything that was attributed as a side effect of the spice. Including the, well, not actually being able to fold space-time, but thinking that you could. Yeah, but friends like that, who needs enemies? Pretty much. There we go. Oh, so last week when we were all together, we were talking about thrusters and efficiencies. So I went in and I did a deep dive into the config files for everything, and found out some pretty interesting stuff. Actually, I should bring it up, but the thrusters. So thrusters are rated in power, right? So in newtons. So it might be newtons, meganewtons, or kilonewtons. Hydrogen thrusters don't have an efficiency like for planets. So there's no difference in an atmosphere versus not in an atmosphere, regardless of gravity, right? Atmospheric thrusters obviously only work to a certain point inside of an atmosphere, and ion thrusters actually do work in an atmosphere, just at a ridiculously reduced fraction, which I think everybody knows at this point. I mean, it's pretty common information. What I found interesting is that the power rating for the thrusters is actually impacted by the planet. So atmospheric thrusters will have a power rating, and then if you're in a planetary field, that rating only goes down. So you have to be in 1G at sea level for full power. In a larger gravity well, the power efficiency actually drops. I was like, oh, it's kind of interesting. Alright, so this is actually the Eat, Sleep, Drink, and Repeat mod. Does a lot of the same things as Daily Needs, but like you noticed, it does add a sleep bar. So in order to replenish that sleep bar, you can do one of several things. You can use things like the coffee or sodas, the Klein Cola, in the game, or you can sit in any non-cockpit seat and just sit there. If you lay down, if your character lays down in the bed, you refill your sleep bar almost immediately. Like if I jump in here, I'll show you real quick. So it has the same charge rate as the full-on med bay for power and health. And then the food and water is just, there's various things that you can get for food and water, including raw supplies. You can cook them. You can turn them into various dishes. The big thing is that once you've got your farm fully up and running, soup is king, because soup will replenish both food and water to 100%. Alright, so let's go this way. Yeah, and if you don't sleep, like if your sleep bar goes to 0, as it starts getting lower, your screen will do weird things, like it'll start blacking out. You'll if you're doing something like where you're flying a vehicle and you're doing prolonged flight, it'll interrupt the key inserts, or the key presses. It is brutal. So basically just adds reasons to actually have certain facilities on board. The other one is that if you need bio, you can actually, any of the toilets, including modded toilets that you can sit on, as long as you can sit on them, will give you bio in exchange for food. Hey Jago, yeah, you will start blinking and then eventually you pass out. Right, which is why if you remember, the base that we built on the Earth Lake had the sofa in it, was so that I could sit there and recharge energy as well as recover my sleep. Now there's a sofa cockpit that was done for Captain Shack and Wasted Space for one of their survival series. I don't know if I think that because it is a cockpit, I don't think that'll count for sleep. But it'd be interesting to try it. I'll have to load it and find out, because now I'm kind of curious. This is why I need a much better... it looks like there might be some material over there. It might just be the stone. Yeah, like I said, it adds an interesting mechanic to the game that I like. Daily Needs, it's a good mod. I just like this one a little bit better because it has there's a farm mod that works with it that doesn't work with Daily Needs currently, but I think that they said they're trying to make it compatible. That might be cobalt. Yeah. There's some cobalt there, which wouldn't be bad to grab. Always have to get ourselves tucked in a little bit closer. Ideally, even with Bob on the large grid, it's about 75 meters I find is probably about the best range inside of 75 meters. Alright, so what we're probably going to end up having to do... Why is it... Oh, because I laid down. Apparently, laying down in the bed automatically opens your helmet. Alright, good to know. Yeah, I don't know if Daily Needs will implement that, honestly. Like I said, I liked it because of the farming mod that comes with, well, it doesn't come with, but is compatible with. Like I said, I'm trying to remember if the basic refiners will process this stuff. Yeah, that is a huge thing. Basically, I like mods that make things a little bit more, I don't want to say real, but give blocks a purpose. You know, there's a lot of blocks in the game that have no purpose other than the decoration, and that's fine, but things like beds and toilets and even the showers and such. I think I got spoiled with those types of useful decoration blocks because of Empyrean. Because Empyrean has that. And I think it's one of the carryovers from playing that game so much. This ship, both of these ships are my design. I actually built both of these on camera, actually. So they are influenced by other ships. Some of them, like this one, is actually influenced by the really old school green. Way back in the day, for the people who remember when we used to have the red, blue, yellow, and green ships. So it's kind of a combination of, I want to say it was the green ship, and I don't remember if people remember it or not. There's an old POI ship that was in the game. It used to be one of the AI ships a long time ago. It was called the Raven. It shows up every once in a while. And yeah, like I said, I don't think you guys will process. Oh, you will process it. Okay. I stand corrected. All right, then, let's go. You guys can start processing materials then. Showing my age, yeah. Hey, my first, the first thing I ever published to the workshop for space engineers had ladders in it. And not the new ladders. I guess I should show that, huh? Here, let's see here. Let's head outside. So, for the folks who may not be aware of this, let's talk about passageways here for a second. So there used to be two versions of this passageway block. There was this guy, which is the regular passageway, and then there was one that had a ladder in it. We'll talk about age. So what happened is that Keen had issues with these ladders, basically causing weird things, including, ships and stuff to explode, because, it's Keen. If it doesn't explode, it's not being done right. So, yeah. So I built an asteroid base like, I don't know, back in 2012-ish, 2013-ish, somewhere around there. And I used ladders in between the floors. I mean, that was back before we even had oxygen in the game. Like being able to pressurize spaces and stuff. I want to bring up our GPS. You are going to be asteroid number 2. And you are cobalt. Alright. If we find any other materials while we're here, you know, we'll take a look. But I don't think so. Might be iron or something in there. Alright, so... Okay, that's because that way... I think that was the asteroid we were looking at before. Yeah, I think I need to put another gyro on this. But yeah, so it's... The game has made a lot of changes. Back when they still didn't want planets in the game. Yep. That was actually back when I think it was Merrick actually came out and said we will never put games like the we won't put planets in. You know, we'll never put planets in. Or something along those lines. It was like they didn't want to deal with the mechanics of it because then they'd have to deal with orbital mechanics. So which is weird because I want to say at one point in time they actually had made a statement of something like that, like they didn't want them, they weren't going to do anything with them. And then later it came out that yeah, it was always intended for there to be some kind of, you know, like pressure, like O2 pressurization and survival aspects. It's like, you know. It's always funny because I get a lot of people that are like, Hal, you've been around for a long time and, you know, no one really knew you in the space engineers community forever. Well, yeah, it's because I wasn't really active in the space engineers community. I was doing just so much other stuff. Oh, uranium! Yes! We have found the mystical uranium. Ah! Okay. That hurt. Let's, well... Was that my antenna? That was my antenna. Yes? Yes. Okay, yeah, that was expensive. See, I got so excited I saw the uranium. Alright. Had to blow up something, right? It's been a while since we've blown something up on this ship. Oh, man. Whew, I'm glad I don't have the explosive tanks mod on. That would have destroyed everything. Right. Do we still have... Yeah, we still have a jump drive. Okay, that's good. Alright, well, we need to repair that. See, I wasn't paying attention, and I thought I had the shield set up so that it would bounce me off of asteroids, but I guess not. Okay, well, hell. Alright. Is that just a industrial tank that we lost? Yeah. Industrial tank and one large thruster. Oh, cool. Alright, well. And this is how we get funny colors on our ships. Let's see. We are going to do... Oh... We need something that stands out because we want to be able to track what we've destroyed. And that's going to go there. I may have parts for that. Exactly, extra parts. We treat them like, you know, like bumpers, right? Alright, well, Bob's doing that. Let's come down here. Ooh. You are a pretty impressive amount of uranium, actually. Alright, how many thruster components do we have on board? Actually, we'll need to replace that as well. Because we will need that atmospheric thruster if we go back into the... If we go into a planet atmosphere, we are going to need it. Man, it was... The antenna was probably the most expensive thing we lost. And I think what we'll do then is let's do something like this, maybe? I think we can get away with this if we do this correctly. So I think that won't block the shield emitter enough for the shields to not function. Alright. Alright, and so what we're going to do is let's grab... See, unfortunately, I don't have an actual refinery on board, so I know our refinery, the refinery that we have, won't process this. But we're still within Earth orbit, so we have the ability then to take this back and process it, which I may do. Let's get the spire out of here at least. I'm kind of curious to see how much uranium this is, because this I think is a crap ton. Having a uranium supply, oh, this is game changing. For those who have maybe seen the last build series I did, I found a uranium deposit on one of these asteroids, and they set up a giant drilling rig. And at the time that I stopped recording while building one of the small ships gone large builds, I was still processing uranium ore. We had, I think it was, I don't know, I think it was for like 1 million units of uranium or something. It was just some ridiculous amount of uranium ore. And I had only mined out maybe a third, somewhere between a third and half of the available uranium in that deposit. It's crazy stuff. Alright, so since we know that there's uranium here, yeah, uranium. Alright, where's my asteroid 2? Interesting. Alright, so asteroid uranium. Okay, well, I guess it's Looks like it's working. Alright. Alright, so I want to go see how much uranium that was that we picked up. Because Bob was picking up all sorts of stuff for us over here. There's 2K. It's 5K. So that was only 5K ore, which means if we go back and mine that surface out, we're probably at about 50 to 60K. Oh, and that looks like it's probably a half sphere. Oh. I'm thinking that might have been a half sphere. So it's definitely worth harvesting. Okay. Alright, so all that. Alright. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do this week. We have our antenna back. Yay. Okay. We're gonna set up a small base somewhere. Do I want to set up a base here? I think I may want to set up a base here. And we'll set up a. Actually, before I say all that, let's see what we've got for resources here. Hide the empties. Okay. Is that all of our construction component stuff? Yes, it is. Okay. Just making sure here. Checking really quick, because you never know. Okay. Alright, so we've got plates. Let's go over here. We're going to look at how much iron do we have. We have 64 or 61K of iron. A little bit of nickel. Okay, I think we have enough to set up a basic base. Or we could just go ahead and build a mining vehicle. Got the plates. The only thing we don't have are large steel tubes, which let's go ahead and do like 200 of those. Alright, so that gets us. Yeah, I think we can actually build a mining ship. So maybe we'll do that tomorrow, Wednesday. I think that's what we'll do. But I am going to. I think I'm going to call this one here. Unfortunately, I have some stuff to do this evening, so I'm not able to really hang out as much as I want to. Let's do that. Large thrusters. Alright, so if we do this, throw all these in. There we go. There we go. Toggle them all on off. There we go. And then you were going to toggle off. So I'm going to thank you all for stopping and hopefully you enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun hanging out with you. We actually, accidentally blew some stuff up. But hey, space engineers. That's what it's here for, right? Oh, I actually need to add another thruster. I forgot I need a lateral on that thing too. Oh, so I'm going to thank you all for stopping and hopefully you enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun hanging out with you. And like I said, I think what we'll do next time is we'll work on getting a mining vehicle up and running. And we'll probably just tether that bad boy like back here on the distribution grid or something. I'll run a line of beam blocks down there and we can have a place to tie in. Oh, so I'm gonna get out of here. Hope you all have a fantastic day. Hope you are having a fabulous new year thus far. And we will see you back here next time for more Space Engineers. As always, folks, take care and be safe out there, everybody. Thanks, everybody. I enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun hanging out with you. Like I said, I know you all have options. So I always appreciate people taking time to spend some time with me. I definitely enjoy it. Anyway, I'm out of here. Take care, all.